Sentinel does not do any blowouts. All these level 1 cards. So this is what we kind of talked about, that so a lot of it was going to come down to draw rather than play skill. And at the end, draw has certainly been a problem. I think this is probably too little too late, but maybe not, because the Gargoyle is defensive. And by the way, that comment wasn't to say Sayamon hasn't been playing well. He's definitely been playing well. It's just that in these mirrors, it does often come down to that. Like if you get screwed 2 times in a row with bad draws, you could be done. Alright, so he can easily move that Gargoyle over into 5. Boy, I don't know how to play this, actually. Almost certainly going to play the 3 level 3s. Like, this is an amazing hand that if I hadn't had all those ridiculous hands, I'd be feeling very well. I think what I have to do is go Tactician 3, Gargoyle 4, Matrix Warden 2, and he buffs 8, so he's a 20. Aurora 3 would still only make him an 18. The Sentinel blowout could really be really bad. The problem is this Warwalker is going to be huge. So actually I need to look how many Aurora 3s does he have, because if he has a bunch of Aurora 3s, that could be a big problem. Aurora 3 could actually outright win the game. So there's Aurora 1 there. Haven't been keeping good tabs on how many Auroras. There's Aurora 2 that I played. I don't think he has Aurora 3 in his deck. His logs are just not that easy to read when you need them to be. I don't remember him playing Aurora 2. If he doesn't have Aurora 3 in his deck, it's going to completely alter. So I don't think he does. Might have missed it. That could screw me, but since I don't think he has it, I'm pretty sure I can do this. This. And then get away with something like this. Just buffing this Gargoyle. And the Gargoyle shouldn't die. And hopefully Aurora 2 won't be enough for him to win here. I don't think he has a Botanimate 3 either. Botanimate 3 could be really bad, because then I won't be able to kill the Warwalker. What is with this? Oh my goodness. Oh my god. Come on now. A Gargoyle should win me the game. Because we're going to have a lot of open lanes. He should just be able to move over into an open lane and win the game. Because he can only fill 2 lanes. The Warwalker dies. Gargoyle dies. Patriarch dies. He would have to come up with 26. So he'd have to come up with 14 points of buff here to be able to stop the Gargoyle. 14 points of buff. What is 14 points of buff? I don't think he has it. And he can't even Sentinel blow out that play. Though a Sentinel blowout could make it so none of the other guys die, and then he could fill. Problem is still that Weirwood would die, and he would have an open lane for the Gargoyle to run to. So I'm thinking that the Gargoyles move 3 wins, but we shall see. So you think every deck that runs Utera should have Feral Instinct? I completely disagree. I feel like Feral Instinct takes a valuable slot. Like this deck, I actually had 34 cards that I wanted in this deck. Feral Instinct was not one of them. Like I had to end up pulling a General at one point. I had to pull a Matrix Warden at one point. I feel like those are highly flexible cards that do useful things. Whereas I feel like Feral Instinct is much And like what Metrics Bud said, if you're only going to run one, it's just so situational. You have to get it at the right time. 9 times or maybe even 15 times out of 16 times when you draw it, you're looking at this card and going, well, that's great. I got that here. Oh yeah, Emerald. That's a good point. But has he played a Metasculpt? I think he's played one. So that means he has one underleveled Metasculpt. I didn't think about that. Let's check. Has he played 2? I remember he played one on an Arc Flight. So there was the Arc Flight one. Yeah, I think he just played that one. So yeah, if he pulls the one Metasculpt here, that could be bad. But he would have to pull Metasculpt plus. So he'd have to pull Metasculpt plus buff. But that's a good point. If he was able to go that line, clear my board, and play like a level 2 Matrix Warden, my hand is so bad to follow up with that's what he needs. Like a full board reset here would actually be way in his best interest. That is a shocking move. Now I'm scared. Okay, so I think that's probably game. So I do the damage with the Bright Steel. I just block the Warwalker. He has no breakthrough, and that's going to do it. God, I'm nervous now. I have to look to make sure that I'm not missing something. Yeah, so there's nothing you can do. Just block him anyway. All right, that should be it. And great game, Saemon. Again, like I said, it kind of came down to draws there, right? Like Saemon got all those great draws, and it looked like his draws were going to carry him. And then I was able to drop 3 level 3s. And I'm sure he's on his stream going, what is happening? This is bull, right? Like, I got the nut draw after getting just draw screwed for like 3 turns. But I had put so much pressure on him early that I was able to survive the terrible draws with that early pressure. So let's see how this is humming along. How's this pool going? Most people are done this round. I'm going to be playing Tonda next. So I'm going to need to take a look at Tonda's deck list and check that out. Whew, that was a crazy one. My blood got pumping in that one, that's for sure. Let's look at Tonda's list now. Let's see if he has something really scary for me. The 4 seed. Ooh, a Deathweaver deck. The deck's really built to handle Deathweaver decks, so I'm fairly happy about that, actually. Let's see, I need to post real quick that I won that. That's not it. So many windows open, I'm having a hard time keeping track of them all. Alright, so I'll be back in a moment. I'm going to use the restroom real quick, take a quick walk. This is what you do in between rounds in an event. You don't just sit there. You got to get your blood pumping. So I will be back in a minute. I'm going to mute my mic. If I forget to unmute it, please holler at me. All right, I'm back. Quick walk, little family time. Too little family time, I'm sure, according to my family. So this is why I don't like open deck lists for these events. I have a huge advantage here. Not a huge advantage as in my deck's better. But normally I have 2 Justicars in my deck for this matchup that I'm about to encounter. And let's say I go first. Normally I would not play a Justicar. In this matchup, I will be power leveling my Justicars before he's even played, which I feel like is a slight advantage that I get that I shouldn't normally have, knowing that that's going to be a really big part of the matchup is the Justicars. I don't have to earn this information. It's just given to me. And now, unfortunately for you guys, I don't know who Tonda is. I'm not sure I've ever had an interaction with Tonda. I'm sure he is an absolutely wonderful human being, but I'm also going to be running a hand cover for this one. And I'll probably pull it off occasionally, but I'm going to run a hand cover because I don't know him. I'm assuming he would never do anything like snipe somebody. If you're in this tournament, I'm assuming you are a very honorable top-level player, but I don't know this individual, so I am going to run a hand cover. Let's see. Make sure we haven't started. I missed it. Don't want to get DQ'd in an event. I've already been DQ'd in one event. I don't need to have that happen again. Not sure if you guys have heard this story. So I did not get to play in many Forgewatch tournaments this last season. It's hard with a family to make it all happen, but I played in my first one was the Reddit giant 256-man tournament. I made the top 16, and then in the top 16, I won my first game, and then family drama happened, and I had to leave for about an hour, and we were well ahead of the other brackets because they were doing kind of a weird thing where I was just hodgepodge, you start whenever. And then the brackets caught up while I was gone, and they had to end up DQing me from the tournament because, you know, I hold no grudge there. I mean, you can't just be like, all right, tournament, heading out for an hour, I'll be back. Like, that doesn't work. But it was really frustrating for me because it's such a long tournament. So I'd rather not revisit that scenario. That was a little discouraging to put in that much time and then not be able to finish the tournament. All right, so I'm going to take a closer look at Tonda's deck real quick. I mean, if you're going to get a deck list, you really need to do this. So he's got 3 Tarsus Deathweavers. He has 3 Woebringers, which is going to be really interesting. And it's another free information I don't deserve and shouldn't have, but it's going to alter how I play a little bit. Like if I put down a... it's going to make it a little bit harder to just drop Thunder Sores. I'm really going to have to think about that a little more. Like he has 3 of these in his deck. The odds are likely. All right, so it looks like I'm supposed to challenge Tonda here as the upper player, or the upper guy. Not the upper player. All right, let's do this. It'll also be interesting. I'm not sure I've ever played Tonda. God, I hope I haven't, because that friends list thing is a complete debacle. I have hundreds of people in it and can't ever find anyone. All right, there we go. So I have not played Tonda. So I will challenge him. Hopefully he hasn't challenged me, so we're not having multiple challenges. There we go. All right. I will try to remember to take it off when it's my turn. I am not going to prioritize that, though, because it's not something that I'm used to doing. So it's going to be something where I will try to remember to take it off. If it doesn't happen, my apologies. I'm going to be much more zoned into playing the game rather than worrying intently about whether or not my hand cover is on. If things start going really well, I'll probably just take it off and not worry. Also looking at his removal options, he has 2 Culls, and that's it. I mean, 3 Epidemics, which I don't care about. So he's not running Dreadbolts. So in this matchup, I'm just trying to get guys out of Cull range. Once they're out of Cull range, they're golden. He's got 2 Phyto Bombs. The 3 Devourers give me a bit of pause. I'm going to have to worry about them. I'm probably going to have to power level Botanimates to deal with them. A level 2 and a level 3 Devourer can just flat win games. I don't have that many guys with huge attack that can take out a buffed up Devourer, so I have to worry about that. Only 2 Leafkins is kind of interesting. An Explosive Demise, I imagine, for a Devourer. This is a really strange deck. To be perfectly honest, I'm kind of surprised he's made it this far, which means it must be a really good deck and he must play it really well because he played some good players along the way. It's not like he didn't play anyone, so that actually makes me a little more worried than I normally would be. If I see a list like this, I kind of think, okay, I probably have the advantage, but in a major tournament where this person is actually winning games, it's probably a really interesting, good list that has been teched for the meta, and so I should be worried. It has no Thunder Source, so that's good. Oh, he was streaming his game? Actually, is our game going to be streamed on Forgewatch? That would be really interesting. I'm going to check. Let's see. Oh, it is. Okay. Wait, what? They're streaming my stream. That's interesting. I don't know. I'll think about it. So that's very interesting that they're streaming my stream. That kind of surprises me. So I don't believe they asked or received an okay on that one, but that's okay. They're good people doing good work, so I'm always a fan of that. Not sure where Tonda is. Hopefully he'll be here soon. Maybe Notherian asked me. Oh, does anyone know how Jake's doing? I forgot to check on his round 2. I got so obsessed with my own results. I didn't even pay attention to my dear friend. Let's see, where is that? Jake in the lower bracket. There are no names here. I can't even understand the lower bracket. Loser K. I don't know. The losers bracket is just it's just a mystery to me. All right, well, not sure where my opponent is. Hopefully he'll be here soon. I certainly don't want to get a DQ. I also don't want to fall way behind. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do if he doesn't show, or how I contact him. He's not a friend of mine, so I can't message him. There we go. Awesome. Here he is. Let's do this thing, Tonda. Alright, so he's got that Woebringer. Woebringer is very interesting with this hand. I think I go Arc Flight, and if he goes Woebringer, I might be able to Weirwood. Thundersword didn't seem like a good play there. It would be hard to get him above where he needs to be. And I hope I didn't have Justicar in that hand. I forgot for a brief second that I wanted to prioritize the Justicar. I don't think I did, though. Oh, and you guys can't see if I had a Justicar, so I can't even ask you. Alright. What is he going to do? Taking a long time to think about the turn 1 play. And if you hear noises, I am eating a little bit of pizza here, so my apologies for that. That's an amazing spot for that play. Normally I would have answers. I have 2 Bashers, 2 Botanimates. They are not currently in my hand, as I'll show you. I don't have good answers to this. That was a very strong play for what I do have. I think what I do is put Gargoyle in front of Progenitor, buff it with the Matrix Warden, and then hope to Sentinel blow out the Leafkin, because I haven't seen one yet. So I'll do that. I'll do this. The problem is going to be like a double Tarsus Deathweaver here or something. It's going to be pretty hard for me to deal with. Wow. Still no Sentinels. I do see the Basher, though. So I have a Basher and a Justicar. There's a good chance that will be my turn. Hopefully along with the free robot in the Matrix Ward. So luckily a Woebringer doesn't do a lot for him anymore. If he does Woebringer, I can do something like, you know, Battle Tactician, Justicar, stuff like that. Maybe even Battle Tactician and Aurora, depending on how much pressure I get. That's pretty much what I expected. So, almost certainly the play is going to be free Matrix Warden, buffing the Gargoyle trade, Basher in 1, and then I'll have to decide between Roar and Tactician. Yep. I think probably Roar is the right answer. That way he can't throw a level 1 Arc Flight down. Problem is that I don't get to play the Justicar. It's kind of tricky. I think either way he goes here. Maybe not. Let me think about that. Basher 1. Really would like to get that Justicar down. If I do, I don't kill the Deathweaver. Because he'll be on Defender. I think I want to Basher that Deathweaver. It's really going to be iffy. I mean, if he pulls another Deathweaver, then I've spent a lot of resources to do something that he just basically immediately handles, and so this could end up being sort of a disastrous play. Did I take the 10 or not? Roaring doesn't do a lot. Everyone still dies. All it does is give the squadron a 6, which does let him live to a Deathweaver. But this way it doesn't do that much either, but it does prevent 10 damage. So I'll take that approach. And by preventing 10 trades with that Aetherhound. Alright, I don't think I'm going to worry about the hand cover. I think that's what I'm going to do. Alright. Still no Sentinel. Come on, what's going on with that? This is the strangest level 1 ever. No Sentinel. No Weirwood. Definitely worried. I'm going to play Justicar. I got to mess with that Leafkin somehow. I mean, I can put stuff in front of the Leafkin, but I think I would rather just go Arc Flight. Try to get some big dudes. He doesn't have a lot of removal. He's got those 2 culls basically to deal with him And if he wants to use a call on it, then he's not, playing anything else. And the second Justicar is going to be really good. He didn't play a Woebringer, so I'm thinking he probably decided in this matchup he's not intending to play Woebringer. And I got a no robot hand too, so game hasn't been going that well. I'm a bit torn here as to botanimating that Death Weaver or doing something else like oh, he didn't. That's really strange. I'm a little bit stunned that he didn't Progenitor there. I don't really see the downside of it, at least activating it. It's still bigger defense. It's harder to kill. It feels like a mistake. Maybe not. Maybe he would say you're wrong. I had a really good reason. That's not a mistake, but it certainly feels that way. And I think the Thundersaur is going to finally hit the table. It's such a terrible hand here. Could certainly go Botanimate, Justicar in 3. If I go Thundersaur is really no downside. He's out of call range. He has no direct damage to be able to handle him. Let me double check to make sure. An Epidemic won't do enough. So he'll kill that Lifeblood Dryad. I think that's the way to go. And with the double Justicar, I'm not really as worried about a level 1 Deathweaver. I don't like putting him in the middle. But again, sometimes you gotta. If you play too rigidly around Battle Tactician, I feel like you steal plays from yourself that pretty much have to be made. So sometimes you just got to do it. Sometimes you got to bite the bullet and go in the middle. But this is pretty good. Having the 2 Justicars. Almost certainly I'm only going to end the turn with 1. But still, with his very limited removal options, he just doesn't have a removal for that Justicar. Things are really looking up now. I get to go Arc Flight in 1, Basher in 5. Oh, he hadn't made the second play yet. That changes things rather dramatically. I still think that's not bad for me, though now an Epidemic is going to be absolutely soul-crushing. It'll just completely wipe my board. And I believe he has 3, so... I don't think I have a way to play around this Epidemic, though. I really want to get rid of both Deathweavers. If I had a Roar here, I would play it. To keep the Thundersaur alive a little longer. Don't have that. Not really getting the answers when I need them this game. I really am going to have to keep pulling Justicars, I think, if I want to keep pace. Don't think I have much choice except to walk into this Epidemic. And I'm doing it eyes open, realizing that an Epidemic is going to crush my world. But, I mean, it cost him one of his plays. And I do get to wipe his threats off the board. And I'm left with 2 guys. If he doesn't get the Epidemic, which he will get. And the problem is it's not even just a this turn problem. Like, he can just ignore these guys and Epidemic him next turn. But if he doesn't pull the Epidemic here, he has no other way to handle the Arc Flight. So I can go Arc Flight into a free Arc Flight. So he must not have the Epidemics, otherwise that's an insane play. Alright, so that's good for me. But that progenitor, don't have a great answer for him. I don't really need it. Hey, my first Weirwoods of the game. Welcome to the party, gal, or guys. A little bit late, though, I'm going to have to say. So the question becomes, where do I put stuff? I think it goes Arcflight 5, Bright Steel 4. I get the mini blowout on just the Echo Wisp. And then what do I level in front of this progenitor? I think it's going to be the Weirwood. Could very easily be a big, huge progenitor. Very easily. But I think I do want to level a Weirwood over the Thunder Sword that's going to sit here and really do nothing. Maybe that's better. Nah, I need to get a Weirwood going. Can't go the whole game with no Weirwoods. So it would be nice if I could actually damage him a little bit here and there. See what we can do in that department. There we go. This gives me a lot of options. If he tries to hit my Arc Flight and take him out, I do have a mini blowout in hand with the Matrix Warden buffing the squadron, then getting the armor. That could work really well. I have the other Justicar, so I'll probably play him. That was sort of a mini mistake. I should have played the Thunder Sword there so that he wouldn't have died right away. It wouldn't have been that big of an upgrade. He still would die to the Leafkin, but it would have been a better play. All right, so I don't need to worry about buffing the squadron. He's still fine. Actually, it was kind of an important miscue because I would have been able to kill the progenitor off of the buff from the Matrix Warden. Well, I guess I wouldn't have been able to play the Gargoyle there. Yeah, I would have done battle and then played him. So yeah, yeah, it's one of those miscues actually. I'm evaluating more and more. It's going from that wasn't really that bad of a miscue to did that miscue lose the game? Maybe. I think I have to put Justicar down. I have to put Sentinel down to prevent Arcflight from dying. Which leaves me one choice, and I'll play the Gargoyle here. Have I activated him? Yes. So there's Gargoyle. Justicar in 3. And do that. Maybe I take board position here. I don't know. I mean, he could do some stuff with the Deathweaver and rest back board position. That one Justicar, though, is kind of a thorn in the side. Yeah. Looking at what you said there about the Sentinel, he really does. He's a huge reason I'm even playing this deck. He just sets up so many blowouts. That's why we call him Senior Blowout on this show. Now this looks good. If I get this Arcflight to live somehow, I'm in good shape. So he culled a Justicar. Can't be too unhappy about that. I don't think that Arcflight's going to live, though. I think he blocks the Arcflight with something. Yep. And it probably won't die. So that's kind of problematic. Except that I can go... Oh, Sentinel here would have been... Oh, I do have an underleveled Sentinel. So, here's what I can do. I can go... Gargoyle moves over to 3. Basher in 1. Sentinel lets the Gargoyle live. Question doesn't deal with a 15-11 dude punching me in the face, which is probably not wise. It's a very, very tempting line to pursue. I think what I might do instead is go Thunder Soar to 2. Gargoyle to 3. I don't really know how to play this. Is the bottom line. I have to think about this more. What do I want to do here? I also have this arc flight, which would be really amazing for dropping down stuff or board position. So many good choices. I really think Thundersword 2, though, is a great option. It should trade with that Progenitor. There's no way to handle it. So that's good. It'll get rid of him. And it levels with Thundersaur. I mean, it's really early, so that might not matter. So the question then becomes, is it better to wipe his board, or is it better to have a threat? And I think I'm going to go for the board wipe. Not try to keep him alive. Basically, not have to deal with that Progenitor. He only has the 2 Progenitors. So I don't know. Maybe that's not the best line. It seemed like the safest line. He just doesn't have a lot of removal, so I feel like this game is probably going to go fairly long, since I can also put out dudes on the board. And if we get into player level 3, I kind of feel like my player level 3 is better than his. I have giant gargoyles. He has awful Progenitors. Level 3 Progenitor is not a good card to play to the board. He does have the Devourers, though. That's something I wasn't thinking about. The Devourers will be an issue. I can't remember if I leveled a single Botanimate. Before the game, I even said, I need to level Botanimates. Let's see if I followed my own advice. I don't even remember seeing Botanimate, so I can't imagine I leveled too many. I don't believe I leveled a single Botanimate. So, yeah. That's going to be something I'm really going to have to keep my eye on. Is he going to get a Devourer that just ends up running away with this game? Clearly I have to deal with him now. The question becomes, do I just stick Arc Flight in front of Progenitor, having a built-in answer for him then? Or do I put him in 2, guaranteeing he doesn't die? Because he has no way to kill this squadron if I put it in 2. If I put it in 3, he has a number of things he can do to it. He can play a Tarsus Deathweaver 3. I'm struggling to remember how much the buff is. I think it's either 5 or 6. So that's enough to kill him. So I think I'm not going to mess with the Progenitor. I think I'll let him buff that guy, and I'll get my better guys that I litter the board with. Maybe not. Maybe I get a Warwalker out of the deal. So maybe that didn't work as well as I had anticipated. But actually with the Bright Steel, it could work out really well that I go something like kill Devour, move over in front of the Progenitor, even post-combat potentially, depending on what he puts in front of Gargoyle, if I can make it live. And then with that 10 armor, might be okay. Although, Epidemic 2 here could actually kill him. I don't believe he's played an Epidemic this whole game, though. Which, frankly, I think is a smart move. Just keep putting those threats out. Don't worry about Epidemic in this matchup. Epidemic oftentimes will actually help me. Yeah, so I'm going to say he hasn't. He did. He finally pulled an Epidemic. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I almost certainly go over and just kill the Progenitor. I can actually get a favorable trade here with the Warwalker and buff him as well. Move him over. Just a car. Might as well trade off the 1 in lane 1. And then the question becomes, do I do that? I don't think I'm going to. I think instead I'm going to do the Thundersoar over there. Not buff the Warwalker. It trades anyway. Thundersoar is kind of scary. And he's immediately out of call range. I feel like I'm doing pretty darn well here. And this is what I thought was going to happen. As we got into 3 and 4, my power creatures should take over the game. He's playing... He's really relying on Tarsus Deathweaver, what the difference is. I didn't see my Weirwoods, but I'm not entirely reliant on that, whereas his deck is much more reliant on finding that Deathweaver. Otherwise, he's playing Ether Hounds, not very good, whatever they're called, Leafkins, stuff like that. The Grimgaunt Devourer is a scary thing. Like if he goes Devourer, 3, Phyto Bomb, stuff like that, that's when things get a little bit frightening. I didn't level the Botanimates, maybe you could say quite foolishly. Let's see what he does here, though. The nice thing is that Warwalker, even at a 2-1, in the back of his mind, he's thinking, oh, how big is he going to make this guy this turn? Does that put a little pressure on him to actually deal with a card that's like the worst threat on the board or not? Wow, that's kind of frightening. Luckily, I have a Basher. A Sentinel here would be amazing. Never quite seem to have a Sentinel this game when I need them. Oh well. Can't keep the Basher alive with a Roar. I think the answer here is to go Basher in 2, trade them, and then Justicar. So I'll buff him first. Battle. Justicar in 2, I guess. Keeping the lane open for the Tactician, even though we haven't really seen them. Hey, there's a Weirwood. That's not late at all, seeing a level 2 on level 4. I take it that was an Epidemic. Yep. Fairly crushing Epidemic 1, actually. Pretty clearly I need to block the Deathweaver. Choices between a Warwalker and a Squadron. I think I'd rather have a Warwalker here. Choice, though, is where do I put it, 4 or 1? 1, he can span 2 guys across there. 4, I think he has a little harder time. So I'll do that. I'll go 4. Patriarch. A little bit less than ideal. He probably has ways to kill this Justicar. And then, of course, I drew another one. So that's the one real downside of the Deathweaver deck, and it's why I didn't play it and got off it fairly early, was it just feels so reliant on finding Deathweavers and them not finding Justicars. Oh, wow. Another Deathweaver. So that's definitely frightening. He's really got to block that Warwalker, though. If he doesn't block the Warwalker, he's in pretty serious trouble. My guess is he's going to battle first and then do a double pop. And the second pop should be big enough. Wow. That was a stunning development right there. Not a bad play. A stunning play. Nice thing is this guy's going to do 26 damage all by himself. Against almost any other deck, I would just leave those guys alone and play. But he has so many... Oh my god, minus 20? Okay, I don't think that's that much of a problem. I think I can let those guys be and just go for the kill. Alright, we're going to do this. And hope the Justicar wins the game. It's certainly the pressure play. Might not have been a good idea to take 30. that feels pretty strong. Whew, and I probably get a nice Sentinel blowout play out of the deal. I'll be able to go Basher in 1, Justicar in 2. And he really has to get something good here. Because the Warwalker is going to be a real problem. He has to either kill him or double block him. And with a -20 on his second pop, it ends up at a net of -8 on the second pop. Yeah. So that's kind of a problem. Well, actually not a problem at all. It worked out just fine for him. Worked out, we'll say, way too well. I think I still have to go Basher, Justicar. And it's kind of unfortunate because usually when people play Epidemics against this deck, I like it because it brings them into Weirwood range. The Weirwoods are so dead this game. It's been pretty surprising how useless they've been, actually. I don't think I've ever played a game where they were this worthless. And this is kind of unfortunate because he's got all these culls that he hasn't leveled yet. And I'm going to have no way to be able to put this Thunderstore down and let him take 5 damage. The most he's going to get is 2. And so that's a little bit disappointing. Also not seeing any roars this game. Okay. I think I go Basher 3 and then Thundersoar in 4. And if he removes the Thundersoar, that's okay. He won't be able to win right away. If he does not remove the Thundersoar, he can't really do much anyway. I mean, he can put a -17-3 down in front of one of these guys, which he certainly can't do that in front of the Basher. It would eliminate the point. And if he does do Cull, that's not that bad. I mean, he used a Cull here instead of playing a threat. And I'd probably play Weirwood, Arcflight or something. I would love to see another Justicar here. This is a little bit dicey if he drops like Tarsus Deathweaver in lane 5, battles, and then drops a couple guys. That could certainly be frightening. Lots of Epidemics from him. So close to being in Weirwood range for that Justicar. Another Epidemic 1 would make me very happy. Epidemic 2 would probably make me sad. Alright. Thundersoar is looking good now. Oh, actually, no. Levels, I forgot it's 7 or more. So that Weirwood is going to be really huge, actually. Oh, not big enough. So the Justicar is going to die, but this Thundersoar is going to be enormous. So he's going to have a hard time. This Thundersoar alone very likely is going to win the game. So I'm going to go... I could Botanimate his Progenitor to make it even better. It seems like a bad idea, though. Alright, so I'll go like this. So my only real fear now is Tarsus Deathweaver into Awesomeness. Actually, I'm going to put the Basher down just to have a bigger threat, and now that I think about it, I should have put it in 1 pre-battle and killed him. I was all in on the Arc Flight, and then I just realized after battle that Gemhide was the better play. So it should have been played pre-battle in 1 just to clear out that lane, just so I would have had a clear lane. It probably won't matter, but it would have been the more optimal play. This hand is pretty much the nut draw. This hand should win because he's going to have to deal with the Thunder Source so heavily and all the other win conditions on the board that now I'll be able to just go double Justicar and basically have him in a real problematic state. I'll say that. So I'm going to check and see if anyone else has finished their round yet, just so I see. Yep, PTK Tempo did win his round. So apparently he has a very scary deck, and he's good. So we'll see. See what he's got. Does he have the counter? He sure is taking a while. Problem is, even a Wisp 3 doesn't do that much. In fact, a Wisp 3 takes a lot from the Thundersoar. He'd have to do like Wisp 3, Epidemic 3, and then he would lose. So no, he wouldn't lose because the Patriarch wouldn't kill his Wisp on my turn. But then I would double Justicar, and he would be very upset. Alright. That was a pretty darn scary play on his part. Oh, boy. So I could certainly go Basher, just take out the Deathweaver. I think what I'm going to end up doing is double Justicaring. But, I don't really like the double Justicar play. I need to look at his Roar situation. I've kind of lost track of a lot. I don't even know what level his Epidemics are anymore. He's got an Epidemic 3. I don't feel like he's roared very much in this game, if ever. I'm not seeing one, so if he hasn't roared, he would need a Roar 3 to kill my Justicar, but I think the safer move here boy, this is a tough choice. I could go Justicar in like 4 and 5. I wouldn't do it in 3, so I have the Tactician. I don't really want to do it in 1, because that just kills him more slowly. But I think I'm going to do this route. I think I'm just going to Basher him off and do that. I mean, minus 20 is pretty darn good. I don't really need to go all the way to minus 40 to get full value. I didn't want him to be able to threaten, some weirdness with 15, and then he has so many double blocks. I didn't want something weird to happen. That's why I did it that way. It might have been the wrong choice. It might have been better just to do more threats, but I really felt like with all the double blocks he has, he's got all kinds of stuff. That's why I did it that way. Alright. The nice thing about the Gargoyle, he has a really good chance of just winning. I only need 4. So I think what I'm going to do is go Gargoyle 1 and Gargoyle 4. In between those two Gargoyles, he needs to cover every single lane, which he's done bunches of times. So it wouldn't be outside of the realm of possibilities, but he does have to cover every lane or he dies. Not to mention Tactician buffing, but that doesn't matter at this point. Alright. There we go. That's what he needed. Like I said, he had to cover every single lane. Man, keeps pulling it off. Every time I think I've got him. I do need to buff that seedling to kill the Deathweaver. So I think I'm going to go Warden, buffing the seedling. I could go actually Tactician, but I think the play here is Thundersaur. I think Thundersaur flat wins. He has no way to handle him. I think he wins the game. So I think a better move instead of Matrix Warden is actually to go Overwrite with Tactician in 3, Thundersaur 2, and do it that way. Oh, it still kills him. Let's do that. And then I still have moving options with the Gargoyle, so hopefully this will do it. I mean, if he gets another, Tarsus 3 into something amazing, he actually could just keep prolonging this or eternally. Maybe we're going to go 100 player levels, but this has certainly been a battle. I feel like I have been on top of this for a long time. Oh, wow, the Thundersaur's only at 4. I was thinking he was going to be higher than that, but that's okay. If he does call him, he probably loses unless he can call him and do Echo 3. He's got to cover all the lanes. So what do you think? Who do you think is going to win? We're 1-1. I won the first one. He won the second one. Who do you think is going to win this one? Ooh.
You?
You think I'm going to win it? Maybe. That's a pretty troublesome spot for me. Alright, looks like Mommy was calling you. Good night, honey. I'll come in and see you in a little bit. Can you shut my door for me? Thank you. Alright. Woebringer's going to be a problem. So I can go Sentinel in 1, buff him, kill the Deathweaver. I think that's what I need to do. The problem is this Woebringer is going to handle the Matrix Warden. He'll easily kill the Justicar. Doesn't really matter where I put this Matrix Warden because he's dying. But I will put him there. At least I get the blowout on the Deathweaver. I'm losing by quite a bit. Again, didn't get a good hand. The Roar 2 is probably not going to be too much value here. Though maybe I can get away with going Thundersaur Roar. Actually, the General fits very well in this spot. General in 4, and then doing something else. Getting a Roar 3 though on my deck could be a definite difference maker and let me go really aggro as we get later on in this game. So we'll see what he does with his other play. I have to assume he's going to handle the Justicar. He doesn't. So yeah, I'm definitely going to go Thundersaur, Roar 3. Roar 3. Roar 2. Trades out that Woebringer. Leaves me with a pretty big Thundersaur. I don't really mind the Devourer growing a little bit. It's not that scary. Should be able to handle him. Maybe not. Maybe I won't be able to. But I have some pretty serious threats now. And I do have the Justicar. So even if he trades with my Justicar and can't kill any of the other two guys, I can stick my Justicar in front of his Devourer if I feel the need. If he sticks something in front of Sentinel and with the intention of trading next turn, then I'll have the blowout with my other Sentinels. So I have some options here. But I'm going to find myself continue looking at his hand because I'm struggling to keep straight what all he has played. I'm definitely starting to fade just a little bit, which is a really dangerous place to be in as you go on with a tournament. And I'm sure after this round, that's going to take an eternity. No one is going to say, yeah, take a nice 20-minute break. So we're going to be plowing through here. That guy's frightening. Haven't seen any Gemhide Bashers. That's a bit worrisome. Okay, so he's gone with the approach of maybe if I don't tangle with a Thundersaur, he will go away on his own. Which can work. Not entirely sure it's going to work this game. He has the 1 Epidemic 2. So if I stick the Justicar in 5, which I'm going to do, there's a chance he punishes me pretty harshly for that play. I'm also going to go Matrix Warden to buff him. I'm going to try to run away with this Thundersaur as much as I can and do as much damage as I can with this Thundersaur. Have to assume that he'll take it out right here, but if I can get a victory in before we get too deep into this game, I have a much better shot. And I still have the 10-7 Sentinel, so he really has 2 serious threats and a 3rd minor threat. Let's see what he's played. Okay, the Woebringer would handle the Thundersaur, but how much would he have to take? Not much. So Warbringer might be a good play here. I don't like Wisp here. I'm guessing he's got to buff it or debuff me. Yeah. Otherwise, that would have just been sort of madness. He still has to take a ton of damage with that play, and in fact, I win here with the buff on the Sentinel. Okay, so that was definitely a rough, long, close match, but I was able to pull it out. So thanks for the games, Tonda. That was tough. And now I've got to play PTK for the rights to move on. If one of us wins, we're just in. So I'm going to take a minute to walk around and go say hi to my family real quick, and then I'll be right back. Alright, I'm going to take 5 minutes to go say goodnight to my child. Hopefully no one will freak out about that. Alright, so I'll be back in a couple. I'm actually going to mute the mic this time while I'm gone, but I won't be gone very long. Alright, I'm back. And I got to admit, my wife really wants me to win this game because she wants me to be done with this tournament. But if I have to move down to the lower bracket, oh man, it's going to be ugly. So let's push this one through. PTK is a really, really good player. I'm really worried about this game because I don't really have a good idea of how I'm supposed to handle this matchup. I don't even really know what I'm supposed to do here. I haven't played against this matchup, and I think that's one of the real strengths of his deck is that not a lot of people have been playing it, and it does seem to have a pretty good counter to me. Those Doomwings are going to be good against my Thunder Swords. I'm really just not that sure what I'm supposed to do, so we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I think, let me check if I'm supposed to be challenging him. I imagine I must be, or I would already have a challenge. Yep, so I'm going to go ahead and challenge PTK. PTK is a really good player. So, you know, when I looked at our bracket, I saw Jake and PTK in my bracket and said, yeah, this is the hardest bracket. These, to me, and this is just, you know, my opinion, feel free to disregard it. I consider PTK and Jake to be the two best players in the game. I like to consider myself in the top 5, 10, whatever bracket you want to put it in. This is nothing against the other amazing players in the game. These are just the players I've spent the most time with, the most time playing with. And so for me, they are probably the two best. And so to know that I had to go through both of them to come out was a little bit daunting. So here's one of them. At least someone else took Jake out for me, my dear friend Jake, which I feel terrible about. But I'm happy to not have to play him. But PTK, no one was able to take him out for me. So now I have to handle him. Okay, so here we go. Game 1 is on. And I do have my hand cover up. We'll see if that stays up. But PTK is really, really good. I don't really want to have anything available. Alright, so I will show you my hand, just flash it real quick. There's my hand. Arc Flight is a pretty obvious choice. There we go. Oh, that's my mistake. Apparently, well-paid butt doctor claims to be the best. I don't know. I might have to say I don't agree with that. I wouldn't say you're not the best, because I wouldn't say that about anyone that I don't know their game very well. But I would say Jake and PTK have a lot of evidence to back up their position as two of the best. Not to invalidate anyone else's claims. Jumping Stormbringer. The problem is if I play Arc Flight followed by Weirwood, which I think that works as long as I play Arc Flight here. Actually, I need to check his list one more time. What removal is he playing? No culls. Wow, the only removal he has is Spark Epidemic. So a Spark will not kill the Squadron, so I think I can get away with this play. I should get at least one trigger out of him, unless he does something wild like, Doomwing into a Stormwind or a Windcaller and stuff like that. That's going to be the stuff that's going to be really frustrating if he starts pulling that off. Yeah, so it seems like he has some interesting combos in his deck that don't feel like they should hit that often. But when they do, are going to be very devastating. I know the Doomwing Windcallers are very frustrating. And luckily Gemhide Basher handles the Doomwing pretty well. So we'll see what he's got up his sleeve. I do have the potential for a Sentinel Blowout on the Stormbringer, but I also might just play Thundersoar in front of something like Stormbringer just to absorb that damage. But there is a good chance he jumps in front of one of my guys, so especially if he fills the other lanes, then he'll definitely jump in front. So we'll see. If he forces him to jump in front of one of the other lanes and doesn't handle them otherwise, there's a really good chance I'll just play my roar here, which you guys can't see. So this is the problem. If I'm going to hide my hand, there's really not that much point in talking about, like if I'm going to talk about my hand, there's not that much point in hiding it. So I don't know. I'll probably just unveil my hand in a little bit. All right, so I need to figure out the loser's bracket. How's this going to work? If I were to lose M, no, it's O. So I would end up going into, only the semifinals. So I would have to play, if I lose this, I have to play 2 more rounds. That's too many. So I need to just win. I don't have my answer for Doomwing. That's unfortunate. It's always nice to just have that right in hand. I don't. He did force Stormbringer to jump in front because he's a good player. He knows what he's doing. I think Roar is probably still the right answer there. Also gives me a pretty big Patriarch. He's definitely going to be moving Doomwing over, so that's something to be playing around. I'm just not sure Thundersaur is going to be good in this matchup. And the problem here is Windcaller is going to be pretty brutal as well. Like the fact that I can't handle him is really tough. So I can't handle this Doomwing with what I have in hand. By him having a 7 here, it's also brutal. So maybe I go something crazy like General 2, Thundersaur 3, Roar. I don't love that play. It lets him move the Doomwing over to kill the Thundersaur, which I don't really care that much about. If I play the Thundersaur here, it's with the assumption it's not going to do very well. I just don't... Like, the Sentinel is really good underleveled anyway. The Thundersaur gets so much better, bigger. I think it might be worth playing him. And the General buffs this Patriarch to put a little damage through. If I'm going to Roar, he'll be pretty big. So I'm going to go this route. Oh, huh. Nope, stop for a second. One of these has to be a robot. Got a little caught in my own brain there. So I think instead I'm going to go Sentinel, Thundersaur, Roar. And I'll still put him here, and he'll actually trade with the Phoenix if the Phoenix decides to come visit. And I get the blowout on the Stormbringer. So that's the clearly right answer. This blowout doesn't really matter as much. What it does matter is it makes it so he couldn't just Epidemic him down. Now he has to Doomwing him down, which gives me a little more flexibility. Or it gives him a little less flexibility, I should say. Probably going to Botanimate. This is going to be one of those games where he's got a lot of big, huge threats. In the Phoenix, the Predator, the Stormbringer even could be useful at some point. Certainly Doomwing, I'll want answers for him so he can't just move over and kill Thundersaur later. This is sort of a feeling out game for me while I figure out how I'm supposed to handle. Okay, that's what I was terrified of is that blowout play. So he got it off. I was able to wipe my board, or not wipe my board, but knock out a lot of stuff just with that one Doomwing. Oh, Doomwing, why must you be you? Very tempted to go Thundersaur into Weirwood. That way Thundersaur kills Doomwing. I'm not leveling the Botanimate. I'm not going to worry about leveling the Botanimate. Play him here. See how that works out. Probably should have played the Weirwood in 2, actually. Or was there somebody in 2? That's how much my brain is breaking down. That's okay, at least. At least it'll pull him far from the Thundersaur. No Gemhide, though. So, if he's able to put down a Doomwing, he's going to get full value out of it again. And this is where this game could be really problematic. I really need to find those Gemhides. The Gemhides are going to be key in this matchup as we move forward. And I also need to figure out what Doomwing's stats are. I see him so little, I don't remember what his level 2 is like. Alright, so even the level 1 Gemhide is kill. No, level 1 Gemhide's a 5. With a slight buff, he'll be able to kill him. And then the level 2 will actually kill the level 3 Doomwing, so that could be important. Alright, so he's going to move over, I'm guessing, into 5. Wow, that was a stunning development. Because if he had moved to 5 first, he would have killed the Patriarch with the Hellions. So now I'm baffled. I have no idea what happened there. It also would have killed him. Now it allows me to roar and trade. I will admit to a lot of confusion here. This is PTK, so I actually assume he's next leveling me somehow that I do not understand. So if that's the case, huzzah PTK, but I think that was a fairly egregious blunder. But I hate to use those words when describing PTK because it might end up biting me and as he shows me how it was not a blunder. But it certainly gave me a good board position. We'll see if he's able to fire back with some amazing play to demonstrate how. Nope, that was all intentional, and you just didn't see this coming. And certainly at any moment, Doomwing plus Windcaller is just the most brutal play ever. So, all right, that's not so bad. So I do get the free blowout on the Hellion. I don't take any damage on the Arcflight, which is nice. So I think I'm going to go... Alright, real quick, what does he have? He has no way to handle this Thundersaur, so sure, I'll go this guy here for the blowout play. Thundersaur here, buffing both Thundersaurs. Would have preferred a Roar there, a Roar 2 to put more pressure on that Windcaller, but this will have to do. Well, that Weirwood is going to do a little potentially. I mean, I've got another blowout potential, especially between Sentinel and Weirwood, buffing this Sentinel to a 8. Is that right? Yes. So he'd be an 8. So he'd probably kill almost anything that goes in front of it. I mean, he really has to handle this Thundersaur fairly quickly. 13 a turn is kind of brutal. He doesn't have a lot of options other than the Doomwing play. Level 2 is really where I got to beat him, because he leveled a Phoenix, a Doomwing, so he's not really dropping scary cards here. He's got one Spark 2, which could crush that squadron he could attack, and then Epidemic. It's not really that great for him, though. I feel like I've got him in a pretty good spot, unless he can do some sort of Doomwing Windcaller shenanigan. If he can pull that off, then I'll definitely be a little bit worried. But with the General Sentinel getting buffed by the Patriarch, and then having another Sentinel get to drop, I feel like I have a really good board and a really good hand, which I think is going to be hard for him to handle. And obviously this Thunder Sword doesn't get buffed by the Patriarch because he'll a 9 already. So if he doesn't kill anything here, I have a really hard time figuring out exactly what it is I play. I could see myself going Sentinel 4, overwriting the Sentinel in 5 with the Weirwood. I mean, that has the potential of happening. I don't really know. I think PTK is realizing this is a tough moment for him. It's just going to take a little time here, try to sort out what are his outs, what is he going to play towards. It feels like his out right now is just the Doomwing Windcaller combo. I don't really see another out that he has, but maybe he's got another one that I'm missing. But that's certainly what I'm worried about. I mean, a Phoenix 2 right here doesn't matter. I mean, another out he has is dropping a 2.4 Phoenix. If he can live to the point where that would be relevant. We saw once already today someone do that, but I had a big enough lead to where it wasn't actually relevant. I'm trying to figure out how many Phoenixes he's leveled. He leveled 1. So he's leveled 2 of them in player level 1. So he does have that chance to drop that 2.4 Phoenix. So that's really kind of what I'm worried about. So we'll see. So I'm looking at the chat for a second. First time during the game. You say Bright Steel doesn't feel so great with the number of non-robots. That is something that I wrestled with for a while with this deck. Is Phoenix going to be good with this deck? Do I have enough robots? And I did come to the conclusion that indeed I do have enough robots, and it does work very well. So obviously I'm not overwriting that Sentinel because the Phoenix has to die. I don't know what to do. My board is so strong, I'm actually lost as to what I'm supposed to do here. So I can make a 6-12 general. I think this is what I do. I think I go not there. I think I go here. Battle. I would have way rather been able to roar here. Like a roar here would have been the perfect play. But I think this is the best play. I think this just wins. Like he's so far down now. I don't. Especially with the roar and the, well, no, the Tactician's not going to matter. I mean, I guess it does matter because he's got to handle one of these Thunder Swords. So he's like his only out here is to go like a Doomwing flying in front of Thunder Sword. So then if he does that, then I'll still have the Tactician into the roar. I really don't think that he's going to make it out of here. I think I might have 11 robots. Maybe less. 3 Sentinels. 3 Arc Flights, 2 Warden, 2 Gargoyles, 1 Warwalker. So I actually lost track of how many that was. 3, 6, 8, 10. It sounds like 11 though. Alright, so there's game 1. See if we can replicate that. That would be very handy just to go through. Not have to go down into the loser's bracket, not have to play a third game, and just win this thing. Let's see what we can do. The problem is I'm worn out enough where I'm not making good, adjustments and trying to figure out what I should do differently this game. Yeah, looking at the chat, it does. I do think he made a misplay there that probably let the game snowball away. It's one of the things about this deck is that it snowballs really hard. And so if you make a pretty egregious misplay, it can bite you very hard. Whereas some decks, an early misplay doesn't matter that much. This is very much a early game aggro deck that if you let it aggro you, it'll steamroll you. So I have some games where it steamrolls, some games where it doesn't. Like this one, it's not really going to steamroll as much, it looks like. But I am going to do that, and I am going to Thundersoar and see if I can just, right out of the gate, make an amazing Thundersoar. So we'll see if that works. And I'm actually going to hide my hand for a couple turns here while we get rolling. I think he got greedy for 7 damage with Phoenix. Yeah, I don't really know which one he did. I mean, my thought is he's a top level player, so whatever he did do is fine. That's a very interesting move. I'm not sure I agree with that. I think that might set him back too far against this deck. I mean, his thought, of course, is I'll just move Doomwing over, maybe Stormcaller or Windcaller or whatever his name is, and kill another guy. But that's not going to work for him as I get to Basher. And in fact, no. Question is, what else do I play? I was kind of tempted to play Roar, but I think there's a couple of choices here. I could Tactician, which would trade off the Sapling, give me a pretty decent board. I could Matrix Warden to pump the Thundersoar. I could go Squadron. He doesn't really have good answers to any of the cards in my deck. That's what's very exciting. Actually, the one card he does have an answer for is the Squadron with the Spark, but if he wants to level a Spark, I'm really not that unhappy about that. But I'm definitely going to Basher him. That's happening. I don't think he saw a Basher, actually, last game. And I think I'm going to do this because he's got Fervent Assault on it. So I get the 2 for 1. I don't have him walking around killing all my dudes with it. And now the Weirwood is really good. Not entirely sure how I do this. Probably going to go Arc Flight into Weirwood. Could potentially go Thundersoar into Weirwood, depending on what he plays. If he plays something I can put the Thundersoar in front of and get some value out of it, then I certainly would be open to that. I have a pretty good board right now, so we'll have to see what he can do. I mean, at any point, if he starts pulling out the Doomwing into Windcaller, that's when things get really bad. Scarlet Knight, what's happening, man? Tiny is, if Tiny wins this game, he makes it to the top 8 in 2 weeks. I'm up 1-0 in the finals of the winners bracket. If I lose the next 2, I move to the losers bracket and have to win a couple more games to be able to make it. This is a pretty big game for me. This is the game where if I can win it, my wife will be happy. If I lose it, my wife will be unhappy. So I need to win it. I need to win it for make my wife happy. And that is annoying. So the Doomwing. That's the card that is really rough for me to handle. And then he also has a Phoenix. So definite choices here. I could go Weirwood in 5. And then General in 3. And that would kill the Phoenix. He would definitely move the Doomwing over, just kill the Thundersoar. Hopefully I can Bright Steel Sentinel it off. And that's not the end of the world. But then he gets 2 more plays, and he's really recovered the board. So that's definitely not the board advantage play. I don't think I need to trade that Phoenix. I think a better play is to go Arc Flight and buff the Arc Flight. I like that a little better. I don't really mind if the Phoenix lives. It's not that scary. And to be perfectly honest, the Thundersoar is not doing anything. So what I really wanted to see here was the Sentinel. So I could Sentinel blow out the Doomwing. And since I've got it, I'm in business. Top 8 is next week, you think? Is it? I don't know. I don't remember. To be perfectly honest, I didn't think I was going to make the top 8. I didn't do a lot of actual playtesting. I mostly did card acquisition, which I thought would mean that I would be in trouble. It's actually worked out okay, though. Yes. That was actually kind of a blunder. What I should have done is... that's a big blunder, actually. I should have battled first. I wouldn't have gotten as much damage in on the Epirflame, but then I would have had a more buffed Arc Flight. Now it's vulnerable to a Spark, which could... You know, it's like in these matchups against really top-level players, these little teeny 2 health decision points end up being a big deal. So I'm really hoping that that I don't have that problem. My Brightsteel Sentinel will do very well here, though. Alright, so let's see what he does. Is he going to Spark now? I wouldn't be surprised. Yep. There you go. Big mistake on my part. What looks like a little mistake becomes a very large one. It's unfortunate. I don't have a Sentinel, actually. I was just saying I had a Sentinel. I think what I'll do, if I had a Sentinel, I'd be really happy right here. But I think what I do is Warwalker in front of Phoenix, then Patriarch. I have a pretty good board. That Warwalker is a legit threat. He may feel the need to Epidemic to handle it. If he Epidemics, that's really not bad. I mean, he's walking into Weirwood issues, and I won't be that upset if he decides to Epidemic. I also have my Basher now to handle his Predator. I have Senior Blowout to potentially handle his Predator with the Tactician. A lot of things potentially that could go my way. Was that back-to-back Sparks that he played? I need to keep track of this. Let's go back to the beginning. So he's played... Epidemic, and didn't he play a Spark last turn? I thought he did. And a Spark. Alright. Take me a moment, I'm going to write this down so I don't forget what he's played. Spark, and an Epidemic. And that was on level 2, actually, so that's a big difference. Alright, so now what do I do? Pretty clear play. Could be something like Battle Tactician 3, Sentinel drops down in 2. That looks like a very solid play. Another potential play, though, could be something like Basher in 4, Roar. Basher lives, I have a really big creature. I don't have to deal with the Predator. I think this is the play. I think it's I think Tactician into Sentinel is pretty strong. Let's see, how many Weirwoods have I seen? Played a Botanimate, a Thundersoar, a Basher, a Tactician, an Arc Flight, and a Weirwood. Ooh, and another Weirwood. So I snuck 2 Weirwoods in level 1. So since I snuck 2 in, I can play much more to my Weirwoods. Oh my goodness, where's my removal? Ooh. That smarts a little bit. The nice thing is Senior Blowout is around, and he is he's a real bad mother. No one likes to see him around. So with Battle Tactician 2, the Squadron takes out the Predator. And then Sentinel keeps him alive. So I think that's the right play. I am set up for terrible things to happen to me, though, with that Doomwing. Which is really upsetting. But, oh well. If he gets the draw, and actually he didn't play a single Wind Caller, so he can't move him. So that's good. So the best he can do is really just move over in front of the Battle Tactician, wipe him out, drop like a Predator in front of the Squadron and spark him, and I still do 16 to him. I can level the Botanimate if I want, or I could probably level the Botanimate. Alright. So he's not going to Predator also, so that's good. What's he going to do now? Problem is I have two tiny guys, so... Oh, wow. That's really good. Oh, man, not having anything of any strength is a serious problem now. I guess what I have to do is Botanimate the 1 and 3 and stick the Warwalker in 2. And then the best he can do is move over. That's not great. This game is definitely sliding away. This was a very troubling hand. Not having any way to handle this guy. So I've got the Sentinel. It's just Aurora would be nice. Aurora wouldn't be that great actually. Okay, so I'll just Botanimate him and play him. Not really what I want to do. I get a Botanimate leveled. I don't think did he not level a Phoenix either this game? Is he leveled? 2 Doomwings. Oh, okay, he did get a Phoenix. Wow, he played all his Doomwings, a Phoenix, a Predator, a second Predator. All right, so we knew that was happening. That's not so bad. If I want to play Tactician, I'll have to play Weirwood probably first, depending on what he puts in front of the Warwalker. I am assuming he's going to put something in front of it. Most likely what I'm going to do is Gargoyle in a lane and Patriarch in 4. Probably not even blocking that Sapling. I don't really think I'll need to. I'll have a 9/9 Gargoyle. Well, I mean, he'll have the armor, so I might. It kind of depends on what he plays, but I might stick him in front of something else that he plays. Could come out of this okay, depending on what he plays here. Okay. I don't quite get that play. Definitely get that play, though. That's a strong play. It's only 2 moves, so I can't jump in front of the Warwalker, which is good. Yep, so I'll put the Gargoyle all the way over here. Then Patriarch here. Of course, he'll come kill the Patriarch. Not really having the pressure I had last game. But he didn't really level the same cards he leveled last game. He doesn't have the same scary threats that he had last time. I think he did play his Spark 2, though, and I didn't note that. So he just played Epi 2. Did he play a Spark 2? I'm thinking he did. No, it was another Spark 1. Okay. So here in 3. Did an Epi 2. And I don't know how he wiped on my board. I apparently missed something. Oh, and a Fervent Assault. Interesting. Let's see. I have a lot of options here, actually. I could move Gargoyle over and buff him with the general. I could just leave the gargoyle where he is, kill him with the basher, which I think is what I'm going to do, and then stick the gargoyle in the middle. I feel like this is the play. Puts the most pressure on him. The only problem with this play is it shows him this basher. So he knows he doesn't have to worry about quite as much, but I still think he's all in on the gargoyles anyway. So, or the doomlings, that is. So I don't think it matters that much. I'll gargoyle in 3. Yeah, because the other gargoyles, well, because the gargoyle's probably not dying. I'll move the other one to 2. It's been such a different game. We've seen 0 Windborns, not many Wind Callers, 1 Phoenix. It's just been all Doomwings all the time. I think those Thunder Swords freaked him out so bad that he decided he was just going to go all in on his Doomwings. That might be the best play. I don't actually have an idea. I mean, if he drops a Doomwing here, it will be trouble because I don't have the Gem Hide. So I'm hoping he doesn't draw one here, actually. If he doesn't, I have a pretty good turn, because... Okay, well that's a problem. So I'm going to move the gargoyle over. What I'm going to do is go Squadron, move the gargoyle over, and Thunder Sword there. Almost certainly he's not going to engage the Thunder Sword. He'll just move over, do the 13. But does leave me room for this kind of stuff where I can go Bright Steel in front of that Predator. Like if he moves the Predator to 3, actually no matter where he moves him, I can just kill him with the Weirwood. And he's not running Culls, so that's such a good feeling to be able to look at a person's list and know they're not running Culls. Makes me feel dirty. But I'm okay with that right in this particular moment. I can put that guy out and know he doesn't just, there's no way he can kill it. I mean, he can kill it with a Doomwing, but he can't just outright kill it. He is going to get the 13 though, which takes me to 22. So that's kind of scary. But I will be able to... Wow, okay. So he apparently has a pretty shoddy hand, which is very good for me. Wow, that is a really bad hand. Oh my. That is going to put him in a whole world of hurt. Because now I get to go Sentinel, Patriarch, Roar, and he is in wowzers trouble. I'm not gonna say he can't come back from this, but he needs a heck of a hand. He needs a Doomwing into a Stormwind. I don't know what he needs. He needs some stuff though. It's just the Tactician alone. I mean, if 3 guys live, that's 24 right there. I mean, he's got to block the Patriarch, or the Patriarch is too much damage for him. And if he does block the Patriarch, then I can drop the Tactician there. And he's in a tough spot. He's got to remove multiple guys. He doesn't have removal in his deck. Like that's the thing that's been so amazing for me, is knowing he has no real removal. So that just makes it really hard for him. There we go. And so that's it. Great games, PTK. Really great competitor. I'll be rooting for you to advance on. So I think that's it for me. I think I'm done for the night, right? I think I swept through and got it done. God, I'm exhausted, that's for sure. All right. Thanks everybody for hanging out and watching. It should put me as a pretty good seed at least. That's something good. Wow. That was exhausting. Thanks, guys. Yeah, I mean, him not having Cull made me feel really relaxed in that game. Like that really, really helped. Oh boy. All right. Well, thanks everybody. You should probably head over to the Forgewatch stream if you're not already there. I'm going to send you the link. I'm going to head out. I'm going to go over there for a couple minutes, talk to people. But it was a great run. I had a great time. I'm really excited that I'm in the top 8. I mean, I'm frankly a little bit surprised. Like I said, I mean, I was confident in my deck. I was confident in how I could play it, but I hadn't done a great job of meta testing it. It was more just going into the queue and winning a whole lot of tournaments in the queue with it. So thanks for coming by, everyone. Thanks for watching, and I'm really happy I got it done. So I'll see you guys, I guess, next week. I'm gonna look up real quick what time that is, so that you guys can know what time to head back on over. So let's see, when is the finals? My phone is apparently blowing up here as people are texting me. Got a bit of a smile on my face, I'll admit it. Tend to be kind of stone-faced about these things, but I got a little smile going. Let's see, Final 8 is going to be on January 18th, which is next weekend at 2 p.m. East Coast time. So that's so I'll see you at 11 a.m. Pacific, and hopefully we can push through again. We'll see. Alright, so I'll see you next time, everybody. See you next Saturday. Well, I'll see you before that, but if I don't see you before that, I'll see you Saturday.